What's up, YouTube? I am starting a Mount & Blade Warband series. Ignore the screenshot. So yeah, let's get started. So, welcome to Adventure to Mount & Blade Warband. Before beginning the game, you must create your character. Remember that in traditional medieval society depicted in the game, war and politics are usually dominated by male members of the nobility. That does not, however, mean that you should not choose to play female character, or one who is not a noble birth. Male nobles may have a somewhat easier start, but women and commoners can attain all the same goals, and in fact, may have much more interesting and more challenging early game. Select your character's gender. Male. You were born years ago in a land far away. Your father was... thief. As son of a thief, you have a very little formal education. Instead, you were out on the street begging until you learned how to cut purses, cutting purses until you learned how to pick locks, all the way through your childhood. Still, these long years made you through streetwise and sharp and secrets of cities and shadowy black ways. You started to learn about the world almost as soon as you could talk and walk and talk. You spent your early life as page in a nobleman's court, craftsman apprentice, shop assistant, a street urchin, a steppy child. Street urchin. As a boy growing out of childhood, you took to the streets, doing whatever you must to survive, begging, thieving, and working for gains to earn your bread. You live from day to day in this violent world, always one step ahead of the law and those who wish you ill. Then, as a young adult, life changed as it always does. You became a squire, troubadour, a university student, good speller, a smith, a game poacher. I will be probably game poacher. Though in the distinction felt sudden to you, somewhere along the way you had become a man and the whole world seemed to change around you. Dissatisfied with common men's desperate scrabble for coin, you took to your local lord's own forests and decided to help yourself to its bounty. Laws be damned, you hunted stags, boars, geese, and sold the precious meat under the table. Cut down trees right under the watchmen's noses and turned them into firewood that warmed many freezing homes during winter. All for a few silvers, of course. But soon everything changed and you decided to strike out on your own as an adventurer. What made you take up this decision? Loss of a loved one, wanderlust, being forced out of your home, lust for money and power, personal revenge. I'm gonna say my dad died. Only you know exactly what caused you to give up your old life and become the adventurer. All you can say is that you shouldn't bear to stay not with the memories of those who loved so close and so painful. Perhaps your new life will let you forget or honor the name that you can no longer bear to speak. Become an adventurer and ride to your destiny. Realistic. Okay. So I'm going to go with a bit more strength, probably one more intelligence, and one more charisma. Take Iron Flesh. Let's go with weapons here. And leadership. So I guess my one-handed and my throw. Guard Dancer. Alright, let's see. Starting weapons. I guess I'm gonna have an axe. B. So, These people are forgot how ugly these people were. I'll just go with that one. That's good. His face. Not that one. That's too big. Alright, so I've done almost everyone except for the Kingdom of the Rodox, so I will do that. You came by the ship, skirting the cliffs where Rodox Island meet the sea. Much of the coastline is obscured by tendrils of fog that snake down the river valleys, but occasionally you caught sight of a castle watchtower rising above the mists. And on one occasion, a beacon fire burning to warn of an enemy warband. You knew that you were relatively safe at sea, as you were too far south to risk encountering the sea raiders who trouble the coasts in the Nordic lands. But it was still a relief to reach the silver estuary gateway of the port of Jakala and see a Rodoc gallery riding at anchor, its peanut pennants fluttering in the evening breeze. You are exhausted by the time you find the Inn of Jelka and fall asleep quickly. However, you awake before dawn and are eager to explore your surroundings. You venture out onto the streets which are still deserted. All of a sudden, you hear a sound that stands the hairs on your back of the neck and grasps for a blade sliding from its scabbard. So let's go into first person. I have daggers and a giant axe. Probably need to change that. I'll keep the daggers though, probably. Ah, dick. Right on. Got him. Haha. And merchant should come in there. Yeah, figure. Yes. Merchant takes you to his house. Once inside, he stands by the door for a while, checking the streets, and finally, convinced you have not been followed, comes near you to speak. It's a pretty crappy house. Oh, I can't steal his bread. That's stupid. Or his book. Now, let me explain my proposition. We've always had brigands in the hills driven to banditry by war, debt, or love of violence. Recently, however, they've been getting bolder, leaving their camps in the wild and venturing into town, looking for unwary prey. The watch commander tells us it's because of all the fighting on the frontiers. Fewer men to keep an eye on the streets, but I'm not sure what to make of that. It seems to me that the most logical explanation is that these bandits have an ally inside the walls, who helps them enter unnoticed and helps them identify particular tempting targets. Last week, they took my brother. I don't know what my brother was thinking. A lad from a prominent house out alone after dark in times like these. Well, I suppose you were too, but you're a stranger here and didn't know how bad things have become. He had no such excuse. Yeah. But he's family, so what can you do? If you don't protect your kin, then people will start thinking that you can't protect your investments either, and I can't have that. No doubt the game will soon send word about a ransom, but I don't care to pay it. So, here's my proposition. You look like you've had a bit of experience with the blade, and more important, you must have a bit of fire in your belly, or you wouldn't be coming to Radia to seek your fortune. So here's what I'm asking you to do. Gather a small party, track down these bandits to their lair, teach them a lesson they won't forget, and get my brother back safe. In return, you'll earn lasting gratitude and a bit of silver. What do you say? I am interested. Ooh, 100 money. Yippee. He's neutral.